The Tournament of Roses encompasses everything. It's the parade, the floats, the flowers, the football game. The Tournament of Roses is incredible, but the history here is wild. Welcome to this iconic 1914 estate that was built on chewing gum. That doesn't sound like it's to code. How is it possible? It's because it's the Wrigley Estate, also known as the Tournament House. Today it is the headquarters for the Rose Bowl and Rose Parade operations. This place has more roses than a season of The Bachelor, but these people are way nicer. Hit that subscribe button and let's get inside. You have never seen a door like this. It is 400 pounds, original to 1914. It's Honduran mahogany. Say that 5 times real fast. But look at the size of these hinges. It's because it's a 4-inch thick door. Every one of these 4 hinges is 10 inches. Massive. I like to think if giants roamed the earth, this is the door they would probably have. What a grand entrance. I love the first impression. It's inviting, it's expansive. All the detail work you can see in the railings going up the stairs, the access into all these different rooms makes you wonder, which way do I want to go? I clearly want to go into the living room, but not before we talk about the ceilings. So the architect, Stimson, who did this property in 1949, was known for interesting ceilings. And so you'll see every room we go into, there's something else to offer. Here, all of those little details, they kind of look like upside down Legos. That's what we'll tell the kids. But all of this detail was hand done, and it's pretty incredible. I am a big ceiling snob. When you tour our home, you'll see every room has a different ceiling, different beams, coffered, cove, barrel. In fact, the living room here has an incredible shallow barrel, which at the time was not very common, but you can see in here, it's subtle, but so impactful. But before we go in the living room, have you ever just wondered to yourself, what does Circassian walnut from Romania look like? Oh, you're in luck. Look at all of these panels here. You can see doors are solid and then they have these veneers in the middle. They actually created these doors to tell a story. You can see it almost looks like there are all these different pictures in here with the way the wood grain goes. Mind, heart, body, and soul. And I love how even the grain of the wood tells a story, as well as everything else that was put in here. Look at the panels inside all the decorative molding, everything's fabric. That actually helps dampen the sound as well, because if a room is all solid surfaces, if it's bouncing around the sound, it makes it very echoey. So this is a great way to make it feel calm and peaceful. And this nice subtle barrel ceiling here, burl wood down below, amazing furniture choices. This is a room that usually would be where you're entertaining. Your guests come in, everything's happening. This is all the action. If you're having a cigar, if you're having a drink, this is the spot. And everything in this room was restored in 1999 to 2000. So all of the surfaces had to look like the original, but they've updated them with modern electrical and smoke detectors and all of that stuff. Can you tell what is original and what is replica? All this woodwork down here, all that burl wood is original, except for one of them, and you'll never be able to tell. Anytime we can't find a specific species of wood or a specific stain to match, we can bring in artists who can replicate any wood, and you would never know. I've got some of it in my house. Down here, if you look at this big panel at the back, that is all replica. That used to actually have a PA system from back in the 70s. They didn't want it. They wanted to have the original panel, so they took it out. Could not find the same wood, so instead they painted it, and they did an incredible job. This mantle is original. But even in 1914, when this was brought in, prior to the Panama Canal, so if you're thinking, how did they get this in from Italy? It was a big job. It came in pieces, almost like a kit that you had to put together. And there is a little bit of controversy because some people think they installed the pillars upside down. Some people think that this part should be facing down and then the columns grow up to the top here. What do you think? I feel like they're right. I think this was done upside down. But you know what? It still looks beautiful. And I can only imagine the impressive conversations and the impressive moments that happened around this great fireplace. This is a very cool room, but it's only the first of many. Imagine having your dinner parties in this space, because not only is it beautiful, another unique ceiling, tons of room, but also there's a species of wood in here that is now extinct. This is crotch mahogany from the Philippines. You cannot get that wood anymore, not growing anywhere. So there's a handshake agreement that if for some reason in the future this ever had to be removed, they would actually contact the Philippines consulate and they would give that material back to them so they can recommission it. Obviously, they're never going to take it out because it is part of the original beauty of this space, as well as this table. This table is original to the Wrigley family as well. This used to be on Catalina Island, which used to be owned by the Wrigley family. In fact, the Cubs would do spring training there, but they felt that maybe the sea air was gonna make the table warp and it wasn't gonna be great, so they brought it here, and it fits the space perfectly. This is also the table that the Grand Marshal has breakfast at before the parade. The Rose Parade, which has been going, this is the 137th year. Every year, there is a special Grand Marshal who leads the parade. And not only is this where they have breakfast, but I have an interesting Eisenhower story for you. Follow me. Okay, so picture this. It's 1964. President Eisenhower is Grand Marshal of the Rose Parade. Well, his buddy, Bob Hope, says to him, well, hey, I've Grand Marshaled before. One thing you need to know, it's very long. You want to use the bathroom before you go. Well, in here, this is the bathroom that President Eisenhower used. There was a pocket door on the water closet, also isolated by almost 1 foot thick walls and solid mahogany doors. Well, the door got jammed and President Eisenhower could not get out. Nobody could find him, nobody could hear him, nobody knew where he was, and he had to be at the parade route. And so that is why they call this the Eisenhower bathroom, because he got stuck in it and nobody could get him out. Am I gonna pretend to get stuck in here? Yes, I am. Hello? One thing I love about a home of this size is it's okay that it's very compartmentalized. There are so many different rooms because you've got the space to fill it. Whereas today, if you have a house that's too compartmentalized, it just feels cramped and tiny. But even finding an area like this where there's so much natural light because you have the window to the gardens, you've got the seating, there's even a bar, so this is set up for entertaining. But this is interesting. This is a Gracie paper. There are a handful of Wrigley homes across the country, and every one of the family members had a foil paper to signify the foil that wrapped Wrigley's gum. Love that. Love the foil paper, and also love, if you look up on the ceiling, this looks like a Roman clay finish. It has a little bit of a sheen to it, but all that hand texture, every surface in this house has something special. Look at the fire brick and how beautiful that is. I've never seen those striations before. Usually it's just literally brick, vertical, horizontal. This does something special. You've got the marble around it and then this gorgeous carved mantle. The fireplace really was the statement piece of every single room, and so it had to be something that was really bold and beautiful. I could not walk past this player organ without giving it a little play. There are 1,500 pipes in the basement. I mean, how cool is that? Just make it swell a little. I'm not going to show off, but I've never played something from the 1500s before, and this is pretty wild. In fact, why don't you guys do the rest of the tour yourself? I'm just gonna play around here. Oh, When the Saints, I can do that. Okay, let's go. As you come up the stairs, you can see all this incredible photography from how the home was when the Wrigleys lived here way back in the day. It's sort of a story of the history of the home, leading right up to the sweepstakes trophy, which is 113 years old. This is the original winner of the trophy. Actually, you can see down here, this is the same trophy, but over time with gravity, the silver has actually sunk in the middle because of the weight of it. My karate trophies were just like this big growing up, so this was way cooler. I love how all this natural light just pours into this area, casting light onto both levels. But this is where they showcase a lot of the memories. This is our 2025 Rose Queen. They never asked me to be the Rose King. What the heck? This is the most coveted trophy, the best float in the Tournament of Roses. This is what you win. The winner gets to keep a replica, and this one stays here. I don't think they'd notice if I just took it. Oh, it's alarmed. Can you think about that? 137 years of the Tournament of Roses. Now, Drew and I hosted the broadcast for 6 or 7 years. And it's wild. I mean, you have competitors from all over the world who come in, incredible bands, floats, and every float, it has to be organic material that covers every surface, and that's what you're judged on. And you have the most spectacular floats you've ever seen. The craftsmanship, the artistry that goes into this. I've never seen a parade anywhere in the world like the Rose Parade. When Drew and I hosted the Rose Parade, all right, I'm gonna give you a little inside scoop. Drew says some dumb things, and it's all live. Everything's live on air. We've got a binder this thick with information about every float, and the floats don't stop. They keep coming in, bands and acts and dancers and you name it. And as we're going through, there was a band from Martha's Vineyard, and Drew live on the air is like, oh, coming up, how exciting. We have Martha Stewart's Vineyard. And everybody was messaging online. They're like, what, Martha Stewart's Vineyard? What are you talking about? But it's my brother. This is the Queen and Court room. They do, I believe, almost 100 events as Queen and Court, which is incredible. And that's visits to children's hospitals, visits to schools, you name it. They're all over, supporting community, which I love. So there is a space here for them to come and use. And then there's the Queen's conference room on the other side. But what was interesting is during one of the renovations, they noticed that there was a window outside that they couldn't find on the inside. And they were looking around and the contractor saw the shutters, they saw the window. They said, where is that? Well, it turns out years and years and years ago, this had been paneled over. And so you couldn't even see a door frame. You didn't know there was a door on both sides. There was nothing there. So when they finally peeled that back and they opened it up, they discovered a magnificent pass-through bathroom. What did I say about ceilings? Every room has a different ceiling. Barrel ceiling in here with a bunch of wood accent detail. You can see a little shower off to the side. I have no idea why somebody would have closed this off, but this was untouched for decades. Nobody even knew this was here. This is the Queen's conference room, because we all know Queen's got a conference. There's a little walk down memory lane of some of our previous Queens, including one in particular, May Sutton, 1908 Rose Queen. She was the first American to win singles at Wimbledon. Interesting fact. When you see Rose Bowl game room, you're probably thinking, is it where they play backgammon? No. This is essentially the Hall of Fame of every Rose Bowl game ever. For people who don't know, there's the Rose Parade, which is the Tournament of Roses and a celebration with incredible floats and florals. But then there's also the Rose Bowl, and that is like, well, they call it the granddaddy of them all. The Tournament of Roses encompasses everything. It's the parade, the floats, the flowers, the football game. The Tournament of Roses is incredible, but the history here is wild. They have photos and actual memorabilia from every single game. You could spend days in here and not get through everything. I love how important it is for every single person who works or volunteers or is a part of this operation, how important it is to showcase the exciting history and all of the major milestones. But going all the way back to 1902, the very first game, how cool is that? And if you're a football fan, $100, I'll let you sleep in this room, all right? You just Venmo me. You may look at the trophy and say, that is a beautiful trophy. Who designed such a thing? It was actually Tiffany & Co. Beautiful for a reason, they know what they're doing. Every Grand Marshal who has ever been a part of the Rose Parade is listed on here. Wow, there are just some incredible people here. So of course I gotta put this right here then, yeah. Okay, perfect. Can you imagine living in this house and how incredible it would be? Actually, it would redefine the saying, wake up and smell the roses. Whether it's the history of this beautiful property, the finishes in each of the rooms and the ceilings, or the football itself, I hope you had as much fun as I did. I just love doing these tours. Comment below, tell me where you want me to tour. And remember, I read all the comments, even the weird ones. Don't forget to subscribe and smell the roses. Oh wait, that's Floribunda. I looked it up. I look good in silver. Well, silver is my middle name. Here was my great idea. I thought, what if I put one of these in my mouth and then I realized, oh, there's thorns on them. That's gonna hurt. And now everyone's staring at me wondering what's taking so long. I'm taking the thorns off of this. The anticipation. This will be the greatest photo ever taken on this show. Ow, I just stabbed myself. Ow. Well, there. That's right in there. The dedication I have to a bit. Ah, I got another one on my finger. All right, here we go.